The ongoing saga between Logan Paul and CoffeeZilla continues as Paul has now further responded to the allegations of being a scammer on his podcast Impulsive. In the episode, he touched on a number of points, mostly nonsense in my opinion, but it did give us some insight into how Paul views this entire situation. Repeatedly throughout the episode, he tried to discredit CoffeeZilla as not credible, but then also used part of his investigation against other members of CryptoZoo like Eddie Jimenez and the Crypto King. It pretty much came down to Paul saying that CoffeeZilla's investigation was correct when it came to everyone else, but that it was not correct when it came to him. He also harped on the fact that he never made any money from CryptoZoo, so therefore he did not do anything wrong. Just to put that point in context, I conspired to rob a house. There are text messages that show that I intended to rob the house. I hired robbers, then actually robbed the house. But then the other robbers turn around and make way with all of the stolen goods before I can get my cut, and then once I am caught, I turn around and say, "Well, officer, I do not have any of the stolen goods, so therefore I am not guilty." That is pretty much Logan Paul's whole argument. Logan Paul also once again made the statement that CoffeeZilla only reached out to him on Christmas Eve, which we know not to be true because Coffee reached out to him over a year ago on Instagram. Now Logan Paul says he did not see that, which is completely understandable, but that is the reason why Zilla then reached out to his manager and had multiple conversations with him. No one expects Paul to read every single DM, but that is why you have a manager, and CoffeeZilla not only reached out through those channels, but also got through. Paul also said once again that he invited him onto his podcast multiple times, but that CoffeeZilla rejected the offer, which is probably one of the smartest thing that Zilla could have done. Going on to Impulsive would have been nothing more than a circus, and on top of that, you threatened to sue him. Why on earth would you go onto a podcast where the host threatened you with legal action? I would not put it past Logan Paul to actually serve CoffeeZilla with a legal notice on the show. Also, there is no way I would trust Logan Paul with a pre-recorded podcast where he can edit everything the way he wants to. When it comes to intent and the whole goal of the project, Logan Paul claims that he ever only wanted to create something big. He stated that this was his big introduction to crypto, and his intent was to pretty much create the next big crypto game as big as Pokemon. Now we actually know that it is not true. The reason why we know that is not true is that there are leaked text messages from Logan Paul showing that he was considered to do far worse. So for those who want to know Logan Paul's actual intent regarding CryptoZoo, here it is in his actual words based on the text messages that he thought would never be released. From the beginning, it was clear that all they wanted to do was make money. Crypto King said in a text message that the valuation is $20 million for the tokens, and then went on to say that the range of profits was insane because it can go all the way up to $210 million, so no matter where they land, it is beautiful. Eddie stated that he could potentially sell the project for $350 million, to which Paul responded that he loved the idea. On top of this, everyone wanted to do a token pre-sale, which can be illegal by the way. Logan, however, dismissed the legal issues and stated that everyone does pre-sales and that they should too. Crypto King also said that if they could not sell in pre-sale, then they can still trade them in the liquidity pool. So what Paul and everyone else then did were they did a secret launch of the project without promoting it. Bought a bunch of coins, then promoted it, making the price shoot up. The plan was then to sell and make millions, but because there is no honor amongst thieves, they started scamming each other, and the rest of the team started buying up more tokens and also selling off tokens before Paul himself could do the same. So the alleged scamming happened when Crypto King stated that there was a bot buying up some of the tokens. Logan Paul and his manager immediately started to become upset when they released that the price of the token has fallen from $120 million to $26 million. Now, remember, Logan Paul is not trying to make any money from any of this, he is just trying to create something fun for the community, so I am not really sure why he is getting so upset over the loss in profits. Crypto King in one of his texts says we created 40 million out of thin air, to which Paul responded, F 40 million, we were 120 million. So again, just remember, Paul has now stated multiple times since this exposed series that it was never about any of the money, but rather just a fun project for the community, so I don't understand why he is getting so upset here over the loss in profits. He is also upset over the fact that the stealth launch failed when only the 5 main people were supposed to have bought up coins secretly. Now that more people are buying up coins, he is getting extremely upset over the plan failing. Again, all of this shows clear intent, but in a typical fashion. Paul is not going to address any of these points. The statement that he was just trying to create the next big game for the community is laughable and provably false. The entire session on Impulsive was pretty much just a writing session with his co-host sucking him off. No actual points were ever brought up. Paul also never fully takes any responsibility for hiring all these bad actors. I do not know how it is possible to have a team around you and it turns out that every single person you hired turned out to be a criminal scammer, but somehow Paul managed to do it, which once again makes you wonder what the intent was here. Then again, we do not really have to wonder what the intent was because Paul makes it very clear in his leaked messages. At the end of the day, it is clear that Logan Paul loves money way too much. He is pretty much willing to do anything for it, and the sad part is that he already has so much. He does not need to do these types of things, but he still chooses to do them because for many people it is just never enough.